Hello and hi. Being a 90s kid, there were several characters that everyone grew up with. And lots of brands that everyone grew up with. And of course, if you had cable, the staples were Disney Channel, Nickelodeon, and Cartoon Network. There was one more channel though that was very important to us in childhood and was on basic television. And that held a lot of characters that were near and dear to our hearts. And that was PBS Kids. The importance of PBS Kids could be a huge discussion. That would be a giant rabbit hole to go down to. But instead, I want to just start on the surface level. Now, there was tons of shows that I loved watching growing up on PBS Kids, but there was one show in particular that held on to my heart for years and I watched for the longest time. And I remember always being excited to watch it after school, especially after dinner. Because I remember it was on at 5 o'clock all the time, so it was kind of the older kids transition show in a way, and that was Arthur.
Arthur was a long-running book series that started back in the 70s and TV series that started in 1996. Alongside that media, computer games were created that were inspired by the different episodes. Arthur's Computer Adventure was released in 1998 for the PC and is based off a previous episode of the same name from the TV series as well as an adjacent book to read.
Arthur's Computer Adventure by Mark Brown.
But who cares about reading yourself when you're about to have this entire story read to you?
Hi, I'm Arthur.
Hi, Arthur.
Welcome to Living Books. You've got to see the new computer game the brain gave me. It's called Deep Dark Sea.
I'm about to talk about a computer game that focuses on an internal computer game. Can we get any more meta than this?
You search for sunken treasure, but you've got to watch out for dangerous sea creatures, pirates, skeletons, and ghosts, and...
Arthur, it's time for dinner.
Oh, no. It's already dinner time. But you should come along. Maybe we can play Deep Dark Sea together.
As much as I love computer games, I will always be excited to eat. That is something where I vary from Arthur already.
Arthur greets us to his storybook adventure and gives us two different options for the experience. Read to me or let me play. And then he jumps into a dance. This is a point I'll always bring up that I feel like it isn't talked about enough. There's so much 60s influence within this dance alone that you can tell that the people that made this game were all pulling from their childhoods. We've had so much 50s and 60s influence within the 90s as children that I will continue to mention and talk about deeper within the future, but for now, there's a story to be told. Because this is a living book, every page has a piece of the story being read out loud where you can follow along with the addition of animated scenes so you feel like you're watching a regular episode instead of learning new words.
Will you?
A haunted sunken ship,
Said Arthur.
with skeletons, ghosts, and sharks.
Sounds spooky.
There's so much to click on throughout the different pages. Just the classic little point-and-click gags that were a staple among many educational software throughout the decade. Aesthetically, this game matches my personality too well. Ocean and sea life with a sprinkle of spooky. No wonder why I remember the imagery so well. There's also this random lamp with a New York accent that hated being clicked on.
Don't do that. Don't click on me again. You're not listening. I said don't do that. Grr, now I'm getting really hot. Look, I don't do nothing. Go click on the bunnies or something.
He appears various times throughout the story, and I got excited to click on him anytime I saw him.
Look, I'm asking you very nicely. Please don't click on me. Ow! Hey, don't click on me. Quit poking me! Just leave me alone!
This just proves that everyone is a kid, no matter how old they are, and that people love to do stuff that they're told not to.
There was also this other lamp doing a strong Mae West impression.
Oh, look, a sale. You know, you can never have enough lampshades.
Looking back retrospectively, it's hilarious that there's a nod to Mae West in an Arthur game.
There's also activities and mini games throughout the story. The first one featured is this toy copter game. The objective being that you drop water balloons and firefighters on the targets below. This is also where I can mention that since all the controls are done by the mouse, it does get a little frustrating while playing since the movements would be so much easier to control with the arrow keys. The same problem exists with the main game, Deep Dark Sea, because yes, you can play the game that Arthur is currently obsessed with, and that's such a super cool aspect of the game. I love that they created a simplistic version of the game that kids can experience. There's 3 levels, easy, medium, and hard, and you have to move your mouse across the screen while collecting coins and air tanks to be able to keep breathing underwater, avoid different animals like electric eels and squids.
Oh no! It's the Squid Squad!
And make your way to find the treasure. Now, going back to the main issue with this minigame, since the controls are mouse only and it's used for directional movement, it's too sensitive. And if you move your mouse the opposite direction just a smidge, it captures that.
Yeah, so I went back and replayed it on my laptop and I realized that I was not controlling it properly. You move with your mouse, but you're supposed to constantly click on the mouse to move forward. And that's what I wasn't doing. So when I realized that, it made it a lot easier to play the game.
It still isn't my favorite control mechanism. Arrow keys would have made it a lot more enjoyable, but at least I was able to play it a lot more smoothly and easily now. I was able to find all 3 of the treasures, but besides a few ghosts and 1 skeleton pirate, there wasn't too much that was deep or dark about this sea.
You promised me spooky, Arthur. There wasn't much spooky. Yes, I know this is a game for kids. It's not Goosebumps, so we can't make it that scary, but still.
The main story is focused on Arthur being obsessed with this computer game, Deep Dark Sea, and how he constantly wants to play it, although the computer is used by the whole family, so it's not available to be used all the time.
Remember, kids, in the 90s, it was normal for there to be one family computer that was the main computer, and everyone shared that one to do all the different tasks they needed to do.
The main conflict happens when Arthur's mom tells him that he can't use the computer because she needs to catch up on her work at home. But she ends up staying late at the office, so he decides to go against her and continue to play with Buster. They get to the end of the level, but then the screen goes blank and they believe that they ended up breaking it. After that, the rush is on to get it back to normal before his mom gets home.
There's nothing in here about Deep Dark Sea accidents.
Arthur, that's a VCR manual that's not going to help you fix the game or the computer. I also love that within the computer store, there's so many more nods to the Deep Dark Sea game, including it being spelled out by the products for sale.
Deep Dark Sea!
In the end, Arthur can't fix the problem. I mean, he's still just a kid. But guess what? It turned out not to be a problem after all, and instead a small, easily fixable error his mom constantly dealt with. And oh look, the lamp is back. Best part of this game, I am easily entertained.
Look, I'm a lamp. I turn on, I turn off. This is all I do. So go away. Okay, I beg you. Please don't do that anymore. Now you've done it. That's it. I'm out of here.
Because this is an educational game, Arthur learned a lesson and gets a punishment for a week for not listening to his mother's wishes, and both him and DW go upstairs to get ready for bed. Here's where you can also find another minigame to play, DW's Store. Between the 3 toys, you get to buy items for them, which each costs a specific amount of pennies. It's a counting game, but honestly, the notion of dragging a single penny into the drawer, I didn't even bother counting along. I just focused on dragging the pennies until DW told me that I got to the right amount. And I'm sure this was a similar experience that a lot of kids did back in the day. There's also a cafe that I did remember vividly as soon as I saw the screen. Another counting game where you drag the amount of items listed to put a recipe together for the toys as well. After that's completed, you earn pennies that you can use to buy more clothes for the toys at the store. Rinse and repeat. Once you're done playing that game, it's basically the end of the story. Arthur's mom starts playing Deep Dark Sea and also gets addicted. Arthur and DW go to bed and say goodnight, and that's the end. Back on the home screen, there's also an activities button, so if you miss any of the mini games like I did, or don't want to go through the story again, you can play them directly. The 2 that I missed were this treasure hunt spelling board game, again with levels 1 to 3. As an adult, level 1 was insanely easy. as it should be. It is a game for kids after all. Level 3 was also insanely easy, as it also should be. But you can see that this would have been a challenge and was for all the kids playing. You have to choose which object the word on the card spells out to progress along to get to the treasure. In the end, if you do win, you get to pick out what you would do with the treasure, and there's 6 different scenarios to choose from.
What are you going to do with all that treasure?
Wow, I can hardly believe it! Let's decide what to do with the treasure. Click on one of the things I'm thinking of.
Most of the choices revolve around spending the money on things kids want, like a theme park on a private island, or buying all the toys in the toy store. But there are a few options for donating or giving it away. It's just hard to tell what each of the choices are due to the vague icons to click on. The other activity is BrownEyedFish, where you can mix and match the parts of the fish presented and give them all different accessories. It's simple, it's cute. You know, I always love a good fish activity since it's on brand for me, but it's even better because it teaches kids what type of fish they are. So there's a little educational layer on top of that too.
So that was Arthur's Computer Adventure. I was really excited to stumble upon this again. I ended up finding about it through Internet Archive, which is literally my savior this year. It is the best thing ever, and I will constantly be promoting it and loving it because they do such an amazing job archiving the internet. And that's what I'm all about, is helping to preserve the old software, the old internet, because it was amazing and we have fallen so far from it. But I did find out afterwards that it is available on Steam, and I'm really excited that they are remastering these software and it's very accessible. So it's that one, and there was a couple more Arthur computer games that are available, and I think they're slowly getting them all remastered, so that makes me really happy, and I'll be happy to support them because they are fun games. This is definitely something for younger kids, of course, because it is a living storybook, but again, I'm an adult, and even though I am attached to it because I do have memories growing up playing this game, I had a lot of fun even this round for a little while. So let me know, do you guys have memories with Arthur? Was that one of your favorites? Was there any Arthur games you loved playing the most? It's definitely a solid franchise and one that I definitely plan to talk about more in the future. But until then, we gotta go find some ghosts and skeletons and play more Deep Dark Sea. So I'm signing off, but as always, I'll see you in the next one.